Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Karli Thomas ahead of her professional debut fight against Lateesha Mohl at Cage Fury FC 142. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And how are you feeling ahead of your professional debut?
I'm feeling really good. We've been, putting a lot of work in, a lot of time into training. Been doing a lot more strength and conditioning this fight camp. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the fight and just feeling ready to go. 2.5 weeks out. So
And you did have a fight back in February. Now, going into
yeah.
that fight, did you know that you were thinking about turning pro fairly soon after that, or were you just taking it one step at a time?
A little bit of both. I knew within my the next fight or two, I was gonna turn pro. It was starting to get hard finding fights as an amateur. Just having 9 fights, it starts to get a little challenging after that. So figured it was probably time to, make that jump to the pro leagues.
And what has been the major difference from like for your training aspect going into the pro? Because obviously it is longer rounds, so you have to make sure the cardio is being able to match up. But what else has been the real difference?
Yeah, the 5 minute rounds is kind of something that I'm kind of used to, and just training in general. I train with a lot of pros, so I'm doing 5 minute rounds all the time. But just to like be sure that I'm prepared for that, because I've never actually had a fight that was 5 minutes. Just adding extra conditioning, into my training and things like that, and like I started doing more strength and conditioning and lifting with my strength and conditioning coach, Rocco Yeager with Yeager Sports Performance. He's been really taking my conditioning to the next level. So doing just a lot more focus on the conditioning aspect for sure for this fight camp.
And am I correct in saying that you're currently training out of the Mat Factory Wrestling Club?
Yes.
And how has that been for your overall development so far in the game?
Oh, it's been a huge develop a lot since I've been there. I used to train at All American MMA Academy back in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. It's where I started fighting out of. And obviously learned tons there. That was, the start of my career. But moving up to the Mat Factory is just taking my grappling to that next level. Really getting better at wrestling and focusing on that. I'm a really big believer that wrestling is kind of like the middle ground between the striking and the grappling. So just being stronger in that area is, I think, definitely helped my game develop. To become a complete mixed martial artist.
Exactly. And what is it about Letitia's game that you feel like you can maybe pick holes in, or do you not really, are you just going in there knowing that you are going to be the better MMA fighter on that night?
I know Lateesha. I've known her for a while, actually. I know she's a very complete fighter. Also, she's really well rounded. She's strong in all areas. I've actually got to train with her once. So, really, I don't see an easy avenue to in this fight in any strong everywhere, and I'm really just excited for me and her to, just see who's better on that night. Because I think she's incredible, and I'm ready for that next step, and I'm really just excited just to test my skills out against her, and see how the cards play out.
And how is it being able to have your pro debut on with an organization as big as K Fury? Because they are one of the biggest regional promotions out on the Eastern Coast.
Yeah, I feel I'm really blessed just to have that opportunity as a debut. A lot of people don't get that kind of opportunity, and sometimes it takes many fights for them to get to a promotion like CFFC. So I'm just very grateful, and I understand that it's a special place to be in. So I've been really just trying to make sure I'm prepared to the best of my abilities. So when I go out there on May 24th, I bring my best game there, and just to start to show the world how great I am.
And is there anything like after a fight that you like to particularly do? Like after a win, you go to a certain restaurant, or is there any like traditions that you like to do?
Yeah, I love to eat. Wherever I can find somewhere good to eat, I love it. I love going out after and with my family and just having some good food. You're in fight camp, you're eating everything's super healthy, strict, you're on a diet, watching your calories, all that stuff. So I just like to go out with my family and have eat. I like wings. That's I'm looking forward to some wings after my fight.
Well, they'll definitely deserve it after that win. And like you're saying, you
Yeah.
like to go out there and spend that time with your family. How much? Because also, as fight fans, we just see you go in the cage, do your stuff, and leave. However, it is the sacrifices you have to make before the camp, during the camp, that really take a toll on you. Missing birthdays, missing family events. How much goes into a fight camp that probably the fans don't see?
I mean, it's literally every single day of your life is kind of engulfed with your camp. It's especially, like I said during camp, it's just 7 days a week, you're every minute matters of what you're doing. So just, it's a huge sacrifice. I'm really grateful that my family understands, my passion and my goals, and support me through that. But yeah, it definitely gets hard at times. Like I miss my family, when I'm in fight camp. I kind of get like homesick almost because I want to go and spend extra time with them and stuff, but it's just hard because I got to train 2, 3 times a day sometimes. So definitely a really big sacrifice that fighters make.
And does it make it any like slightly easier knowing that they are here, they do understand what you are going through and do try to support you as much as possible?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean the support. If I didn't have their support, I'm not sure that I would be able to do what I do. So having their support is everything.
And obviously, this is just May, and this is a second fight for you already this year. What is your goals for 2025? How many fights are you looking to get, or when are you looking to get back in? Are you wanting to have some time after the fight? Obviously, we're now into your second fight of the year in 2025. What is your goals for this year?
My goals for the rest of the year is really just to be active and keep fighting. I'd like to fight sometime during the summer, maybe after May 24th, maybe at least maybe two more times. I'd like to fight at least. I try to just take it fight by fight and just kind of see what happens. Hopefully, planning on to come out of the fight May 24th healthy to be able to, kind of jump back into a fight camp sometime to fight during the summer.
Yeah, exactly. And with the women's MMA, it now seems like you are now able to have a lot of opportunities. You also have got Cage Fury, who's producing you and Lateesha. You then got Fury FC down in the south, who's got their own women's division. You have the UFC, you have Invicta. It just seems like now there's a lot of more opportunity for women's MMA to get those matchups and progress in your skills.
Yes, definitely.
And how big is it to have an organization like Invicta, which is solely focused on women's MMA?
I think it's really cool. I've been training for a while, so like when I was younger, kind of like before I started competing and like fighting, and competing in MMA, I always thought it was really cool. The idea of Victa was like an all women's promotion. I think that helps, bring I think it makes it more, it brings more recognition to this
Yeah,
women strictly doing it. You know what I mean? Like it shows girls that there is a lot of girls that do this, and like
yeah.
a girl would want to try it before, but maybe is a little bit nervous. Like seeing a promotion like that, I think can be a really big influencer for other females to get that confidence to try it because they see so many just in one organization doing it.
And exactly, it's not just as if you have to have so many fights. You need to have this level. They are bringing fighters in from just pro debut to the big ones as well. Do you feel like
Yep.
that just gives these fighters who, like you're saying, might just be coming in, maybe not knowing what they're wanting to do, just lets them know that you can feel comfortable. There is this avenue where you can go into the sport and ease yourself into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think just seeing it is gonna just keep help influencing all these girls to maybe try it themselves. So
And what did you make of the title fight this weekend in the UFC? Shevchenko versus Fiont, I think is how you pronounce it. What do you make of that kind of matchup?
Well, this is actually probably terrible. I'm not super familiar with the other lady, but I'm a huge Valentina fan, so I'm gonna root for her, I guess.
And it does feel like really strange to me because Shevchenko is going into this fight as the underdog, where
Oh,
like last year or before the Grasso fight, she looked unbeatable. She
hmm
looked like she was coming in, you weren't able to beat her, she's just gonna maul you. And now she's coming in as this fight as the underdog. Do you feel like
that's interesting.
The Grasso trilogy may have twisted the tide a little bit, showed those flaws in her game?
Yeah, maybe. I think because I watched the third fight and I thought she put on an amazing performance. She dominated her on the ground. I thought, for the most part. It's been a while since I've watched it. I thought that kind of solidified the controversy there of who was the better fighter, but I think it's a fight game and it can really like you never know who's gonna win on any given day. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that question her now. And then I'm sure there's others that, stand behind her still. So I think it's interesting. I think it's good for the sport to have that controversy sometimes. So
And what do you make of, I think Amanda Nunes has announced she is going to come back to the sport. What do you make of her coming back?
um, you know, I think I'd like to see her stay retired only because I think that's what she truly wants in her heart. I'm sure the media and stuff is makes it hard to, stay away for some of these fighters. So I think for herself, maybe I think she should, just stay retired, enjoy her family. But um, it seems like might be coming back. So we'll see. I'm sure she's gonna get her belt back if that's the case.
And it does sometimes seem like fighters, they always want to keep fighting. They always cut, like Amanda Nunes
Mhm.
comes back, but sometimes you need to know when it is to be retired and stay retired. Because
Yes.
obviously with
Yes.
Henry Cejudo, he was retired, he's came back, and it's not really gone so well the second time. I think he's got one win and like
Mhm.
3 or 4 defeats. You have Tony
Yes.
Ferguson, he was at his top of the game, he didn't retire, but he went on top of the game and then a 7 fight losing streak. Do you feel like there needs
Yep.
to be you need to be retired and just stay there, just call that point and know when it is?
I think so. I think it's important because I understand the fighters and why they want to keep fighting, and I'm sure I'm probably gonna feel the same way. When I get to that point in my career and it's probably time for me to stop. I think with that being said, it's important to have people around you to kind of tell you, hey, it might be time to hang it up and just train and be a coach and enjoy it instead of putting yourself through all these fight camps and the brain damage that you can get and stuff like that. Especially, I think it affects you the older you get. So I think I think it's important to have people around you to tell you when it's time.
And speaking about coaching, I think I did see that you also help out with the coaching aspect. Is that correct? And
Yes, yeah, I coach women's wrestling at
and
Waynesburg.
how has that been?
Oh, I love it. It's a lot of fun. And it's all like it's for me. It's a way just to kind of share what I've learned throughout my years of training. It's been a really good journey for me. It's helped me a lot with my own training, my own approach to fight camps, and just as it taught me to pay attention to all those little details and stuff in the practice room. So yeah, it's been a really big change in my life, but it's been a great opportunity. I love doing it, and that's once I retire, that's kind of where I see myself. Maybe not at the college level, but just I see myself being a coach after my fight career is over. So it's kind of a good start to learn how to develop those skills.
And most people think you're just coaching them. However, I'm pretty sure they've probably helped you as well, coming up with a few questions that you've probably given you a different angle on certain techniques.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of you're not always prepared for everything that somebody's going to ask you. So it's really interesting to just see what other people see and kind of learning how to everybody learns in different ways and picks up things and with different phrases and stuff like that and just clicks for everybody different ways. So it's really cool to I guess experience that kind of diversity and just think about it for myself in other ways too, rather than just what I've been taught. So
And what was it that brought you into the sport?
into MMA, it was
Yeah.
actually my mom when I was about 10 years old. My mom, she was doing like kickboxing classes and she just wanted my sister and I to learn how to defend ourselves. So she took us to an MMA gym, started training, and I've never looked back since. I've been to a couple different gyms since, but I've been on a mat since I was 10 years old.
And do you feel like being able to start in that sport as young as you have has helped you build your knowledge to be able to come to be the fighter that you are today?
Definitely. I wasn't always like the most technical as a kid, just because the sport's changed a lot since then, honestly. But I feel like an advantage of training since such a young age is I've just been through so many different situations, and experiences like in the training room where I feel like almost anything that happens in a fight, I'm gonna kind of have experienced it's in some capacity at some point. And I think that's a big advantage. Just being comfortable with like really whatever is gonna happen.
And are you just looking to stay as active as possible, even like if you're not able to get an MMA fight booked after this one for a wee bit of time, just staying active, going to jiu-jitsu competitions, submission matches, just try and get into as much activity as possible.
Yeah, I would like to do some of that stuff. And I definitely like my main focus is
Yeah,
fighting MMA. But I've definitely thrown around the idea of doing more jiu-jitsu competitions, maybe even some boxing or something like that also. Just to be active. So yeah, I'm open to really I guess whatever competition would come next.
well, make sure you tune in to Cage Fury FC 142. You can see Karli get her victory in her professional debut, and it's a fight that you definitely do not want to miss. Thank you for coming on today. Is there anything you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Yeah, I'd love to just shout out all the people that support me, my sponsors. I should have got a list for them ready. I always forget to list. There's like 15 of them right now. But just all my sponsors, Go Green Windows and Construction, Jaeger Sports and Performance, Mogies, Irish Pub and Grill, Palette Fitness, Andrew Paula Media, my photographer, obviously my gym, the Mat Factory, Coach Chris, Yinzer boxing coach, is my striking coach. All the coaches at the Mat Factory, Isaac Greeley, Chris Dempsey, Matt Schaefer, my boyfriend Justin Patton. He's a big part of my career as a fighter. I know I'm forgetting some of my sponsors, and I apologize for that. But I love all you guys, and I appreciate you all, and definitely wouldn't be able to do this without you. So
Exactly. You know who you are. You make a big part of a fighter's career, and it was great having you on. Make sure you tune into the fight. It's a fight you definitely do not want to miss.